This is the monsoon, should be in a monsoon here in Chandler. We just lost our tree. We saved it last year.
See it like this.
Woo!
A relentless wave of severe monsoon thunderstorms, destructive downbursts, and life-threatening flash floods has hammered Arizona, turning neighborhood streets into rushing rivers, triggering dramatic swift water rescues, and knocking out power to tens of thousands of residents across the state. The National Weather Service, NWS, has expanded its flood watch and severe thunderstorm warnings to cover multiple counties, warning that the unstable, moisture-rich air mass will continue to trigger unpredictable and explosive storm cells. From the urbanized, sprawling grid of the Phoenix metropolitan area, down to the saturated desert washes of Tucson, and up to the vulnerable mountain terrains of Flagstaff, local infrastructure is being pushed to its absolute limits. Emergency management agencies have issued urgent turnaround, don't drown directives as the state battles one of the most volatile weeks of the 2026 summer monsoon season. The Phoenix Valley experienced the brunt of a massive convective storm system that swept through the desert lower lands. A highly volatile combination of extreme atmospheric heat and sudden surges of tropical moisture culminated in what meteorologists describe as an aggressive downburst pattern. Within a matter of minutes, sunny skies over Maricopa County were replaced by a towering wall of dust, a massive haboob, rapidly followed by torrential downpours that immediately overwhelmed municipal storm drain networks. The hardest-hit urban zones were concentrated in the West Valley, particularly within the cities of Glendale, Avondale, and Buckeye. Powerful winds, with peak gusts clocking in at over 80 miles per hour, tore through commercial districts and residential neighborhoods alike. According to report updates from Arizona's Family, AZ Family, several massive utility poles were completely snapped near 51st and Glendale Avenues. The downed live wires caused immediate road closures and presented extreme electrocution hazards in standing floodwaters. Similar structural failures occurred in Avondale, near 107th Avenue and Lower Buckeye Road. In North Phoenix, massive uprooted trees crushed vehicles and brought down localized overhead power lines near the Paradise Valley Mall area and along 7th Street and Dunlap Avenue. At the absolute peak of the storm sequence, utility giant Salt River Project, SRP, and Arizona Public Service, APS, reported that over 52,000 customers were plunged into darkness. While emergency ground crews worked tirelessly around the clock to stand up replacement poles and clear debris, thousands remained without electricity amid sweltering post-storm humidity. Further west in Buckeye, rural communities felt the severe structural toll of the back-to-back storm sequences. The iconic Kerr family farms, a multi-generational agricultural staple operating since the 1970s, suffered catastrophic damage. 2 consecutive nights of microburst winds ripped heavy metal sheets right off functional barns, completely displaced massive grain silos, and uprooted 50-year-old defense trees. The ranch property recorded more than 3 inches of rainfall in less than 24 hours. This unprecedented volume left the agricultural terrain so deeply saturated and muddy that heavy construction equipment could not immediately access the property to begin recovery operations. Miraculously, the family's livestock, including a large herd of buffalo, escaped the chaos unscathed. The city of Flagstaff and surrounding Coconino County communities were placed under a sweeping flash flood watch by the NWS. On the south side of Flagstaff, an incredibly localized convective cell dumped between 1.5 and 2.5 inches of rain in less than an hour. This intense rate of precipitation bypassed typical absorption channels. In neighborhoods located just 5 minutes away from downtown Flagstaff, streets were entirely hidden beneath deep, fast-moving sheets of muddy water. Eyewitness accounts described municipal trash containers floating casually down major roadways, with water lines rising rapidly to meet the doors of parked passenger vehicles. Some residents in affected low-lying communities resorted to using personal canoes to navigate the freshly formed street rivers. A major point of frustration for local emergency managers was the behavior of drivers. Many motorists continued to force their vehicles through flooded residential streets, despite explicit warnings. This reckless driving generated destructive artificial tidal waves that repeatedly pushed water lines higher up against the front doorsteps of vulnerable family homes. In a detailed situational briefing, Fox 10 Phoenix interviewed Flagstaff emergency manager Daniel Kelly to clarify the mechanics behind this specific flood event. Kelly emphasized that the city's multi-million-dollar flood mitigation projects, constructed around historic wildfire burn scars, performed remarkably well. The engineering defenses successfully redirected heavy mountain runoff away from vulnerable downhill valleys. Instead, the current crisis stems from a completely separate engineering challenge: localized urban ponding. The outdated urban drainage network on the south side simply lacks the volumetric capacity to process tropical monsoon downpours. As the city continues to plan long-term infrastructural overhauls, weary residents are taking matters into their own hands, deploying personal water pumps and sandbag barriers to safeguard their properties. Beyond Flagstaff's urban core, the rural roots of Coconino County, the second largest county by land area in the contiguous United States, suffered extensive physical degradation. Flash runoff caused major road washouts in the Williams area, leaving critical sections of Garland Ferry Road completely impassable for local traffic. Significant structural damage was recorded across the communities of Kachina Village, Munns Park, and Mountain Air. However, the absolute brunt of the rural precipitation targeted Forest Lakes in the county's southeast corner. Public works crews have been deployed on rotating 24-hour shifts to repair hundreds of miles of unpaved routes, many of which serve as vital logistical lifelines into the Navajo Nation. Emergency management officials have urged travelers to always establish comprehensive backup travel plans before venturing into the high country. Southern Arizona has shifted into a heightened state of alert as monsoon storms continuously refire across southeast Arizona and the greater Tucson area. The regional flood control districts have processed massive amounts of water moving through desert washes that remain bone dry during the rest of the year. The dangerous reality of rapidly changing desert hydrology was demonstrated in an early morning emergency operation executed by the Tucson Fire Department, TFD. At approximately 2:22 a.m., an off-duty Arizona State Trooper spotted a passenger vehicle trapped inside a swelling wash near the intersection of Silverbell Road and Sweetwater Drive. TFD swift water rescue specialists rushed to the scene. Because the ground currents were moving too rapidly to safely risk a manual wading operation, commanders extended a heavy mechanical aerial ladder directly across the rushing water torrent. Firefighters successfully secured the driver and pulled them up into the aerial cradle. While the vehicle sustained total water damage, the driver was rescued with zero physical injuries. The incident prompted immediate school bus delays and rolling morning road closures across the neighboring Marana School District, where sub-basement roads remained underwater. The arrival of these immense rainfall totals has amplified public safety concerns regarding post-wildfire environmental cascading hazards. According to specialized weather briefs from 12 News Arizona, foresters are monitoring two highly vulnerable high country zones: the Oak Creek Canyon area, which was severely impacted by the recent pocket fire, and the north rim of the Grand Canyon, which still bears the unstable burn scars of the Dragon Bravo fire. When torrential rains fall over landscapes devoid of living vegetation, the soil is unable to absorb moisture. Instead, the runoff morphs into rapid debris flows. These flash currents carry toxic combinations of loose mountain rock, thick black ash, uprooted trees, and industrial mud down into active tourist hiking zones. The environmental risk has severely impacted local mountain economies. The prolonged closure of critical transit routes like Highway 89A has driven tourism down to zero, forcing the federal government to open low-interest disaster relief loans of up to $2 million for small businesses struggling in Coconino and Yavapai counties. The historic mining communities of Globe and Miami, located in Gila County, continue to find themselves at the center of Arizona's monsoon flooding narrative. This region highlights the severe long-term economic and human structural challenges of climate anomalies in small-town America. Recent storm developments in Gila County triggered fresh panic when residents captured video footage of a highly defined funnel cloud rotating directly over the Globe, Miami area. While the system fortunately did not touch down and was not classified as a land tornado, it was accompanied by an intense downpour. Within minutes, localized creeks broke their banks. An all-terrain vehicle, ATV, parked along a dry wash was flipped over and washed downstream. Several low-water crossings were immediately submerged, forcing residents to abandon their vehicles and cross dangerous channels on foot to secure basic supplies from the town center. While the recent water crests did not quite reach the lethal heights recorded during the catastrophic floods of September 2025, which claimed 4 lives and washed thousands of hazardous propane tanks downstream, the recurring storms highlight an ongoing political conflict over infrastructure funding. Globe Miami municipal leaders are fighting a massive bureaucratic battle to secure up to $100 million in federal disaster relief from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. FEMA previously denied the small community and emergency declaration, a decision that town leaders have formally appealed with backing from Arizona's congressional delegation. Under a standard state-level disaster declaration, the local municipality is required to cover 25% of the multi-million-dollar repair bill. For a small town of just 7,250 residents, such a financial burden is impossible. A successful federal FEMA designation would reduce the local obligation to a manageable 10%. Local administrators state that recovery efforts are being severely bottlenecked by decades-old, outdated federal flood maps. These maps completely fail to reflect current environmental risks and altered post-wildfire drainage channels. The scope of this multi-regional weather event can be understood by looking at how various hazards have manifested across different counties over the past 48 hours. The following analytical matrix compares the specific meteorological impacts seen throughout Arizona. A single cubic foot of standard water weighs approximately 62 pounds. Because desert terrain is often baked hard by extreme summer heat waves, the soil acts like sheets of solid concrete when rain falls rapidly. Instead of absorbing into the earth, 100% of the precipitation instantly converts into lateral surface runoff. A mere 6 inches of rapid desert water current possesses enough kinetic force to sweep an adult entirely off their feet. Less than 10 inches of moving water can easily lift and wash away a mid-sized passenger car or crossover SUV. Furthermore, storms do not need to occur directly overhead to present a lethal hazard. Intense convective storms raging over high mountain peaks can send massive volumes of water roaring down dry washes located miles away under perfectly blue desert skies. This phenomenon often catches off-guard hikers and motorists completely by surprise. The Arizona Fire and Medical Authority has issued a set of specialized guidelines to prevent secondary home fires and industrial accidents in flooded properties. Standing pools of indoor subsurface water can easily become electrically charged if they come into contact with submerged home appliances or baseboard wiring. Residents are strongly advised to never enter a flooded basement or living room until the property's main electrical breaker has been completely shut off. All household electrical systems must be certified by a licensed technician before grid power is safely restored. Widespread power outages occur. Many residents deploy emergency fuel-powered generators. If operated indoors or placed too close to residential windows, these devices pose severe carbon monoxide poisoning risks and present significant structural fire hazards if poorly ventilated. Torrential floodwaters frequently tip over backyard storage sheds, potentially spilling combustible items like paint thinners, lighter fluids, or lawnmower gasoline into the local flood pool. These floating chemical slicks can easily ignite if they drift near electrical sparks or alternative heat sources. Homeowners are requested to clear any mud, broken tree branches, or storm debris away from fire hydrants located near their properties. Clear access ensures that arriving fire crews can rapidly connect hoses if a localized structural blaze breaks out during a flood cleanup operation. According to the latest evening update models from the National Weather Service, Arizona's highly active monsoonal pattern is expected to experience a temporary shift. The dense upper-level jet stream that pushed moisture deep into the state is slowly moving northward toward Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming. This shift will bring much-needed drought relief to the Rocky Mountain region, but will offer only temporary relief to the desert Southwest. By the upcoming weekend, storm chances in the Phoenix Valley and Tucson Basin are projected to drop down to a minimal 10%.
Bro. Dude. This whole... God.